After last week's big news of the restructuring and reboot of DC films, James Gunn responds to the fandom via Twitter. Welcome back to Views with Hughes, your agenda for news. This is Jerome Hughes, and if you haven't done so, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Okay, so James Gunn, who is the new DC Films executive along with Peter Safran, he decided to take the Twitter to respond to the fans of the Snyderverse as well as the previous DCEU regime. He stated, "One of the things Peter and I are unaware of when we took the job as heads of DC Studios was a certain minority of people online that could be, well, uproarious and unkind to say the least. Our choices for the DCU are based upon what we believe is the best for the story and best for the DC characters who have been around for nearly 85 years. Perhaps these choices are great, perhaps not, but they are made with sincere hearts and integrity and always with story in mind. No one loves to be harassed or called names, but to be frank, we've been through significantly worse. Disrespectful outcry will never ever affect our actions. We were aware there would be a period of turbulence when we took this gig, and we knew we would sometimes have to make difficult and not so obvious choices, especially in the wake of the fractious nature of what came before us. But this means little to us in comparison to our jobs as artists and custodians in helping to create a wide and wonderful future for DC." So to break down what James Gunn stated, as well as a few things he tweeted out later in response to various followers of his, he stated where he says that Peter and I were aware of when we took the job as heads of DC Studios was a certain minority of people online that could be, well, uproarious and unkind to say the least. To be honest, what Mr. Gunn doesn't know is that it's not the minority, but if it is a minority, the minority will be the vocal majority and they'll be the loudest of the fandom, which consist of the original DCEU fans that includes those who are fans of the Snyderverse. Another thing to break down is that he said in his next tweet that he stated that our choices for the DCU are based on what we believe is best for the story and best for the DC characters who have been around for nearly 85 years. What exactly does that mean? Could that mean that he's possibly stating the same manner as those who work at Disney, as well as the previous Warner Brothers regime under DC, where they stated that they're telling the stories based on what we believe and what we feel is right? Could that mean that it's related to the ESG model, where they're bringing in woke content, making the characters woke? Or could they mean that they're telling it similar to the comics versions, but in their own twists and turns? One can only speculate with what exactly they mean. And then it comes to state here where they're talking about being disrespected by the fans who enjoyed Henry Cavill as Superman, as well as the rest of the Justice League members, including Ben Affleck as Batman, Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman. But many have been taking issue to the fact that everyone is gone except for Ezra Miller, who's been caught up in various crimes as of late, from 2020 all the way up to this year. But they're wondering how Miller stays on board, but everyone else is fired. And there's also that's related to the fact that the Flash is still staying along, and all the films and takes the shots done by Henry Cavill have been eliminated and removed from the movie. Also, a fan here states, who knows if it's true, but recasting the main DCEU characters but keeping some will be interesting. How Peacemaker and Suicide Squad characters and actors live on, but the others don't, particularly when they have all interacted together. James Gunn responded, "I keep seeing posts with this untrue theory. We're not recasting everyone except the Suicide Squad." So he stated that they're not recasting everyone except the Suicide Squad. In other words, those who he has in the films. So that means that John Cena will stay on as Peacemaker, as well as the surviving members of Suicide Squad. So, in other words, James Gunn will be having a difficult time with maintaining the current fans. He stated that he knew that not everyone will be agreeing with this, but this old saying goes, not everyone will be pleased, is actually an understatement in this case. Thank you all for joining me for another episode of Views with Hughes with Jennifer News. I'm Jerome Hughes, and if you enjoyed what I shared in the video, go ahead and like this video and also share it everywhere across far and wide on social media. And if you enjoy all the content I put out there, go ahead and subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Until then, peace.